Tatyana Arrington here, and I'm here with the one and only talented, beautiful Ryan Destiny.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't even believe it. We talked about this film 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Like, what is going on?
In the middle of a pandemic,
yes.
On IG Live.
Yeah.
And now everybody's going to get to see it. Everyone's going to get to see it. How are you feeling right now?
I feel really, really good. Very blessed. I'm happy that it's finally seeing the light of day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and hearing you say that we the actual like timeline out loud, right? sounds insane.
You've been on such a journey with this film, same as like we see in the film with Claressa. Tell me a little bit about just the process of, you know, this film coming to the light of day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where to start. I feel like it's been so much. I mean, I started training back in 2019, mm-hmm. and of course 2020 came around and we started and we had to stop, and we stopped for 2 years before coming back, and mm-hmm. I had to train basically over again and get back into shape all over again. So it was a lot, you know. Gaining weight, gaining muscle, dieting was something that I was not used to mm-hmm. at all. So to put my body through something like that and see it transform was just insane to me, and really cool to see, especially it being filmed and being on the big screen. It's right. Like, oh, it all was for a reason. Great.
I was watching, I was like, okay, like a little muscle here and there. And it was so funny because I saw in another interview, correct me if I'm wrong, you said you've never been in a fight.
No.
I've never been in a fight either.
See?
So, but do you feel like now after this film, you could, if it were to happen, you'd be prepared?
I would like to think I'd be more prepared than I was before.
Okay.
So who knows?
Yeah. And I feel like, too, the movie, Brian Tyree Henry, like, mm-hmm. he's insane.
He's insane.
He's a chameleon, like, so powerful. Can you talk to me about the last scene broke me? Mm. It was sad, but hopeful, but mm-hmm. full of regret. There's so many different emotions in there.
Yeah.
And how did you guys approach that scene, and then how did you feel after you shot it?
You know what's so interesting? We filmed that scene, I want to say, more so in the beginning of shooting.
Really?
Yes.
Jeez, okay.
We did, and it was a little all over the place, and I don't even know if I realized in that moment that it would be our last scene on screen together. I think I obviously know how the script goes, but I don't think I realized like how important it was in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a testament to our director, Rachel Morrison, for guiding us completely and making sure we understood the gravity of each scene. And it's very easy to act with Brian. Mm-hmm. You know, he is somebody that makes everyone better around him. So I'm very, very thankful for him. And every scene that we did, I don't think we thought too much into it. We just mm-hmm. kind of lived in it and went for it. So it worked out.
I mean, it worked out great. The chemistry and the dynamic you two had, I was just like, no, I get it, but no.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And I feel like, too, I mean, Clarissa's a real person, but mm-hmm. you're also a real person.
Yeah.
How did you balance, like, bringing parts of yourself into the character, mm-hmm. but also, you know, making sure you stayed authentic to her?
Yeah, it's always a tricky balance, you know, trying to make sure you're being authentic to the character, but trying to make the right choices for that moment when it's like on film, you mm-hmm. know, like, you know, when certain things will read better maybe than this actually was maybe said, you know, you have to like twist it a little better in that moment to make it better for the performance as a whole. So it was a delicate balance that I kept having to go back and forth with. I also stayed with Claressa's documentary like on my phone, on my laptop, so anytime I needed to just like go back into her brain, I guess, mm-hmm. for a sec, that documentary was always there to just help me. You know, she's a full person with mannerisms, with a certain movement in herself, and I think that was always kind of number one for me, to make sure I got it right. And even with her speech, you know, everything was very, very important to make sure I got as authentic and real as possible. So I think it was always a battle, making sure I just did the dance correctly.
Yeah. Yes. No, I want to say I feel like you really did. Like, because when you're watching it, you root for her, even though she says things like, I like to beat people up. I like, I am a bully, but it's the way that you conveyed it. It's like, you can't help but love her.
Yeah.
And I feel like people maybe in reality didn't get to see that. So I love in the film that we kind of get to dig deeper into who she is, even sometimes when she's not talking. You have like a little look here or a look there. So just like hats off to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It was so great. And then I want to ask too, I mean, the fire, we see the fire inside Claressa. It's anger, sometimes it's passion, sometimes it's transformation. What do you think was like the most challenging part for you? I mean, I know you had to transform physically, but even stepping into the emotion, Claressa's world, growing up in Flint, the people that she has relationships with, what do you think was like the most challenging but rewarding part for you?
It would have to be between making sure I could wrap my head around her relationships with her family, because they were very complex and they were also extremely important to her, but they had their ups and downs, and I needed to make sure I could fully, do it justice when we would do those scenes and make sure that it felt very authentic. And the other one, I guess, would be making sure I could, do it justice when it came to her confidence in herself. And an athlete's confidence in themselves is very different than the normal person.
I know, right? The ego has to be on level 100.
No one can tell them anything, and I'm not that. Like, I have a lot of insecurities that like eat at me a lot of the times, and so making sure I could deliver that was very important to me, because that's something that she exudes naturally every second of her life, and so that was really challenging for me. I had to pull the little seed of confidence throughout that I had and just like build on it. And I think it was also out of fear, which I played into. I think it was a good thing for me, because it made me just go for it even more, and go all in. So I think it really helped in the end, but it was definitely something that I was like, all right, I got to shake this off and really get into her mind and not care about what anyone thinks, so.
Which you did. I mean, I can't rave enough. Like, really, I really enjoyed it. And then even when the trailer dropped, I don't know if you remember, Mr. Keith Powers was like, on Christmas Day, I didn't forget about the haters. You guys are going to see why she's really like that. And yes, you are really like that. Do you feel like you have something to prove the same way Claressa has something to prove in the film? I mean, this film has like changed your life already. I feel we've been seeing you featured in, Vanity Fair and different like the world is your world is changing, which is exciting. But do you feel like that's one aspect that you brought that maybe you do have a little something to prove to people?
I think so. I think it's kind of in all of us naturally, but this was definitely something that I knew going into was just completely different than anyone has ever seen me, and I loved that. I don't like being put in a box. I know what I'm capable of, even if it does scare me. I know what my potential is and what it can be. So whenever someone, would try to put me in a box, it does make you just want to completely shatter it, and shake that I guess, how people perceive. You just want to like completely shake it off. And so that is something that I think was in the back of my mind, maybe even without realizing it. And I definitely am proud of what I've created, and it has made a really big difference in my confidence as well. So it is something that I'm excited for people to see.
Yeah, she's so humble, y'all. She's so like, killed the film. Do you have a go-to song that like fires you up or gets you going, like, or maybe even an artist where it's like, okay, or even maybe while you were listening to during the film?
Oh man, it changes. All the time. I guess it depends. I mean, one artist that I think fires a lot of people up when they need it is Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
You know, he has just so many great songs where it just puts that oomph that you need into your day. So he's definitely, I guess, one artist that I'd say.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one. And then I want to ask too, now, correct me if I'm wrong again, did you train with Michael B. Jordan's trainer that he used for Creed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And that was his suggestion. Obviously.
That was Michael's suggestion.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, him and Rachel have a relationship working on Fruitvale Station and Black Panther. And when he found out that she was doing it, he didn't think anyone else was better for the job except for Rob Sally, and he was completely right. And he's been very, very, you know, I guess, supportive since the beginning of that, without even realizing, you know, it was going to be me playing the part. I think he's just naturally, you know, really supportive of everyone, especially when it comes to a boxing film like this. Obviously, he's someone that's done incredible, iconic work, and I'm just really thankful for him.
Yeah.
You know, he's been really great throughout this entire time, and yeah, I am thankful that he suggested Rob, because he was definitely right.
Yes.
Definitely right. Yeah.
Should we go ahead and put in a campaign for you to be in the next Creed movie? Like, we should just put that out right here, right now. You've already got the experience. You worked with Michael's trainer.
That sure. Sure, let me just, you know, train again and go back into that world. It'd be fun. So I'm excited for whatever that next one is. I'm sure it'll be really cool.
Do you feel like boxing is, what would you say is the most, the people get wrong about it, like, oftentimes?
Ooh. I know for me, you initially only really see these boxers in their mode, you know, like when they're on and about to go into a fight, and when they're having, you know, those moments between the other opponent and how they are. So I think you initially always think they're mean.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just not true. Claressa is one of the nicest people that I've ever met. So I think that is something that a lot of people probably get wrong.
Yeah.
I think, naturally. So
it's just that tough exterior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
before I let you go, last thing, 30 seconds or less, what would you say to somebody who's maybe on the fence, they're still not sure, even though you should be tapped in, they're still unsure if they should go see The Fire Inside. What do you think is like the most important thing, the most important reason that they should go see this film?
Well, you would really suck if you don't go see it.
That's true.
No, I think that a story like this is way too important not to be educated on it and not go see it. You will leave with a lot of different emotions, and it really is a roller coaster, but it really is an example of life and how you have your ebbs and flows. And if you continue to keep going and have the confidence how she has, and believe in your dreams in an extreme way, and no one can tell you any different, you can accomplish really, really great things. And also shining a bigger light on women's sports and women athletes. I think this is the prime time for it, you know, and it's a really, really exciting time. And so hopefully, you know, this film just adds to that growth that's happening. Women are just as exciting to watch on screen. Women are just as powerful, just as much a force in the sport world. And I think that this is definitely showcasing that. So, I don't know. That's all I got.
You did it. And I mean, I just want to say too, I feel like you are also one of the kindest people I ever met. I didn't even know that you were going to remember me when we ran into each other. And I was just like, that was like the first thing out of my mouth, like, oh my God, you remembered. Like, that was so long ago. I know you meet so many people. And it's just so nice that the movie is finally coming out, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course.
I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Full circle moment.
I know, right? It's a reunion, y'all.